Did you know that global meat production exceeds an impressive 350 million tons per year? That's a huge number, isn't it? And in this context, salami stands out as one of the most sought-after products, with a market that has already reached $15 billion. This type of sausage, beloved by many around the world, has its roots in the tradition of cured meats, especially in the European Union, where the custom of preparing meats in an artisanal way is almost an art. Every year, around 21 million tons of processed meat products are produced in Europe, and among the favorites is, of course, salami. But have you ever stopped to think about the process behind the creation of a good salami? How does it get to our table with that unmistakable flavor that we love so much? If you're curious, get ready to discover the story behind this delicacy. Let's take a closer look at the step-by-step process that involves selecting the meats, mixing the seasonings, fermenting and curing. And of course, modern technology, while preserving traditional techniques, ensures that salami reaches us with the quality and flavor that everyone loves. Salami is not just a simple sausage, it carries centuries of history. Originating in Europe, it is considered one of the oldest sausages on the continent, with roots dating back to Roman times. When we look back to antiquity, we find historical records that show that, even back then, meats seasoned and cured with animal intestines were very common. These methods served not only to preserve food for longer, but also to give it new textures and flavors. It was a way of reinventing meat, bringing out new potential in food. But the process of transforming salami did not stop there. In the Middle Ages, Italian communities in the regions of Lombardy and Piedmont began to perfect these curing and drying techniques, creating recipes that, over the centuries, evolved and gave rise to a wide variety of types of salami, each with its own unique characteristics. From generation to generation, these recipes were refined until salami became a true symbol of European cuisine, and today, a delicacy enjoyed in many other corners of the world. Now, what makes us reflect is how the ancestral traditions of curing meat have remained alive over time, adapting to modern needs and technologies, but without losing the essence of what has always made salami so special. What makes each piece so unique is precisely this combination of past and present, where ancient knowledge blends with innovation. And we cannot forget that, at the end of the day, salami is more than just a simple slice of cured meat. It is the result of a rich history, full of flavor and tradition, that continues to delight palates and unite cultures around the world. When you taste a slice of salami, perhaps you too will perceive a little of this history, of the hands that shaped the recipe over the centuries, and of the dedication of all who, to this day, keep this tradition alive. It's amazing how, in something so simple, we can find such a profound cultural legacy and at the same time a sensory experience that connects us with the flavors of the past. So the next time you pick up a piece of salami, remember that you're tasting much more than just cured meat. You're tasting the history of generations who, over time, have made this delicacy an icon of global gastronomy. The 19th century marked a major turning point in the history of food, especially when industrialization expanded into the food production sector. With the advancement of technology, grinding machines, filling systems and curing chambers emerged that revolutionized the way salami was produced, making it a popular food far beyond Italy's borders. Before that, salami was a very localized tradition, but with the help of these innovations, it quickly spread to many parts of the world, winning over new fans and becoming a true global delicacy. But behind every piece of salami, there is a meticulous and detailed process. It all starts with the selection of meat and fat, a fundamental step, as these choices will directly impact the texture and flavor of the final product. In most factories, pork is the main raw material, with lean meat being used mainly, such as ham, which is combined with belly fat, or the famous bacon, known for its strong flavor and unique texture. In some recipes, depending on the desired consistency, even beef can be added, offering a different touch and adjusting the texture in a special way. But these main ingredients are just the beginning. To give the salami that characteristic flavor, a series of spices come into play. Ground black pepper, garlic powder, and fennel seeds are just some of the wonders that are mixed with the meat, creating a combination of flavors that make the salami stand out. And we cannot forget the curing agents, essential chemical compounds that are added to ensure that unwanted bacteria do not grow, in addition to giving the salami that characteristic reddish color that everyone recognizes. But the salami transformation process does not stop there. To ensure quality, all the meat and fat arrive at the factory vacuum-packed and need to be stored with extreme care in cold rooms, where the temperature is maintained between 40°C and 60°C. This care ensures that the product remains fresh and free from any sign of deterioration. Upon arrival, the packages undergo a thorough inspection. Technicians analyze the color of the meat, the smell, and the integrity of the packaging. Any sign of change may be an indication that the batch is not in ideal conditions, and this is strictly controlled to ensure that only the best salami reaches us. After this initial inspection, the cutting process begins. The meat and fat are cut into smaller cubes to facilitate their passage through industrial grinders. But this is not a simple grinding process. It occurs in two phases. The first, coarse grinding, uses discs with larger holes, which break the larger pieces into smaller fragments, facilitating the process. Next comes the fine grinding, where discs with smaller holes transform this mixture into a very homogeneous mass without leaving lumps or imperfections. This precision in grinding is what guarantees the ideal texture of the salami, creating that soft final product with perfect consistency and unmistakable flavor. And it is fascinating how, behind each slice we consume, there is a technology that preserves the tradition of a product that dates back centuries. Salami, with its humble and ancient origins, is now produced with all the sophistication of industrial processes, but without losing the charm of artisanal flavor. Each bite is a true journey through time, where past and present meet in a delicious way. When you think about this process, it becomes clear how every detail makes all the difference in the final result. From the choice of meat to the care taken in grinding, everything is done to ensure that the salami has the quality, flavor, and texture that we love so much. And when you taste a piece, you may begin to perceive, in each piece of meat, a little of the history of the industry, the tradition, and the passion that lie behind a simple, but so special, piece of salami. The salami production process is a true art that requires patience, precision, and great attention to detail. One of the most critical moments in this journey is the grinding of the meat, which is done in two distinct stages. The first, coarser grinding, breaks down the larger pieces of meat and fat, preparing them for the next stage. The second, finer grinding, transforms this mixture into a homogeneous mass, where the small granules of fat begin to appear, providing the unique texture that we all recognize in salami. This technique not only ensures the firm consistency of the sausage, but is also crucial for the final flavor that we love so much. Once the meat and fat have been ground and combined, the mass is then transferred to huge mixers, equipment that ensures that all the ingredients are evenly distributed. This is when the magic of spices comes into play: pepper, garlic, and fennel, which give the salami its characteristic flavor. In addition, a culture of lactic bacteria, microorganisms that play a vital role in fermentation, can be added. They generate lactic acid during the process, which results in the slightly acidic flavor of salami, one of its trademarks. The mixing process lasts between 10 and 15 minutes, just the right amount of time to ensure that the salt and seasonings mix perfectly with the meat and fat. At the end, a technician takes a sample to measure the salt content and uniformity of the seasoning, adjusting the recipe as necessary. It is meticulous work, as any small mistake can affect the flavor and quality of the final product. After this careful mixing, the dough is left to rest for between 2 and 4 hours in refrigerated chambers, at temperatures around 4 degrees. This resting period is one of the crucial moments in ensuring that the salami has the perfect texture. During this period, The proteins in the meat absorb the salt better, forming a stable network that will help hold the sausage together during curing. In addition, the resting period also helps to reduce the formation of lumps, which makes the dough easier to handle in the next step, filling. The seasoned dough is pumped into artificial or natural casings, better known as casings, which give the salami its characteristic shape. Automatic machines control the pressure during filling, ensuring that no air bubbles form inside the salami. Bubbles could create moisture spots, compromising the preservation and texture of the sausage. The diameter of the salami varies but is usually between 3 and 5 centimeters, depending on the type and style desired. After filling, the ends of the salami are closed with metal clips or wire, and the formed segments are sent to the fermentation chambers. In the fermentation chambers, the process takes on even more life. Immediately after filling, the salami strips are carefully hung on racks, where they undergo a fermentation process that can last 2 to 3 days. During this time, the temperature in the chamber gradually rises from 20 degrees C to 24 degrees, while the humidity is kept close to 90%. It is during fermentation that the lactic bacteria do their work. They consume the glucose present in the mixture and generate lactic acid, which lowers the pH of the salami and guarantees the characteristic flavor and microbiological safety of the product.